Okay, we're live without much apologies for coming a little bit late, but this is Chance, your host tonight for God, Church and Politics. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the side of the world where you are. I'd like to welcome you in a very special way on this special edition, God, Church and Politics. We talk a lot of things. We're in Malawi, back to the motherland. I'm proud Malawian and proud to host this and talk about my land. Malawi is on the rise. Let's put it that way. There's been cries in the past where the regimes in the past have really let us down. Somehow we saw the light of God in 2020, where we have elected a new government in place. Hopefully, we were hoping, and we are hoping, that God is going to help us to build a better Malawi. Manifestos came into place. People promised, presidents and aspirants, let's put it that way, whom today we've elected to be president and probably under vice, and his people that, because Tonse government consists of 9 parties together. And something probably that has never happened in the world, but Malawi is breaking the records again and again. One nation that probably has made history in the sense that the ruling was overturned in the courts. That is the ruling of 2019 to say the DPP government won the presidency was overturned in 2020 in 2020 to say we needed to go back to the polls and vote again. Listen, it happened. We are happy, cheerful. We are on the rise. We are on the rise. Or are we? Somehow there's discontent. Somehow people are crying out. There is something that is brewing in the hearts of people because of governance. Remember, we ousted the first one because of discontent with the governance of the past, with the past regimes. We blamed on them in terms of nepotism. We blamed on them and corruption, which is so rampant on the ground in Malawi today, because the past regimes were so lenient, so corrupt themselves. The leaders did not understand their place. The leaders sat back and the vouchers came in and rampaged and did all they could. And Malawi is impoverished today, not because it doesn't have the resources, but just because the leadership lack. Now today, we are saying we have a new government, we have a new leadership. We expected and we are expecting better than what happened in the past. But there's so much talking about this. Now my question tonight is Tonse government making headway? Are we progressing? Or something is not right? Or maybe, are we just quick to judge? I mean, it's just 1 year old. Can we say they are failing? Are they just like the old? Shall we trust them and still give them some more time? Joined me tonight is my dear beloved, my brother from the USA, the man, Minister Mahara Mohango. Greetings and welcome. Welcome to the show today.
Yes, sir. Pleasure to be with you once again.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah.
And I know that this for me it shows brotherhood, because you accepted at a very short time. You knew you are needed and you're required here. So thank you so much for answering the call to come so quickly so we can discuss certain things. And tonight, I should say welcome to Beulah. Madam Beulah Mlangela, all the way from Essex.
Thanks for having me.
The land of the wealth, right? Essex? Shall we say that?
So they say, and I receive it.
Well, greetings and welcome, and good to have you here. It's always a pleasure to have you, and you bring a different tone and quality to the team. So welcome, greetings. Also, all the way from Dublin City, the city, the country of Ireland, is my good friend Bishop Shanks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you?
Good to have you. It's very good. I'm good. How are you? How are you doing?
All is well by His grace.
Perfect. Perfect. We are here to really debate, talk about our land, Malawi, the blessed land, whom we have believed that God has given us an opportunity to make it, to grow the nation. And we believe we have the right people in place. And tonight, I called you guys in. Thank you once again. Let me put it this way. I said it to Minister Mahara. I want to say again, this shows brotherhood. This shows brotherhood to both of you, Beulah and Bishop Shanks, for coming on a short notice. Trust me, I felt that whilst there is an atmosphere, there is momentum in the air. Let's talk about these issues and let's analyze.
Pastor Chance, your line is totally chopping.
Oh,
your line is chopping. We can't hear what you're saying.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Badly. Yes, we can hear you.
I'm freezing badly. Okay. I'm thinking of changing the connectivity. I think it's to do with my internet, to be honest. But if we can hear me, so what I'm going to do then, I'm going to set you up, guys, and then we keep going. I might pull out and then come back in. But quickly, welcome once again. All of you. Welcome. So let's start by this. The general question is, there were promises made. Malawi has a new governance in place. We have new leadership. Probably the general question is, are we making headway? Let me start with Minister Mahara. Your analysis in terms of the Tonse governance and Tonse operations as of now, a year on, have we made some progress?
No, we are not making progress. I would tell you, as a concerned citizen and as a patriotic Malawian, we are not even going backwards. We are going sideways. Things that are happening right now, we don't have to be sugarcoating these things. Malawians have, I think there's a very big mismatch of what was promised and what is being delivered. The expectations of people, the needs of the people, and what this government was supposed to be giving us. There's a big mismatch. So if you ask me, are we making headways? I'll say totally from where I am right now, if DPP is now becoming back as a benchmark, as a yardstick, that they are able now to point out what is wrong with the government, it means we're in a very bad place.
Okay, that is from Minister Mahara. Let me come to ladies. Beulah, seems like you're having a little bit issues with your camera. Is it okay to come to you now? Should I come to you now? Are you all right?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Cool. All right. Your analysis in short, few words, like Minister Mahara. Are we making headways? According to Minister Mahara, we are not even we're not going backwards. We are pushing sideways. Your analysis, is Tonse government making headway? Are we 1 year on? Are we better than we were 26 years ago?
I totally agree with what Minister Mahara said. I feel like instead of making progress forward, taking steps forward, we actually going backward and doing the very things that previous regimes have done. And I guess we expected to see something different. And once again, and I think it's too early on to be observing these matters. So yes, I would say that we are not making progress at all. And when we get to a point of comparing MCP and DPP, with how they governed our country, when we use DPP as a yardstick, that's a problem on its own. So yes, we are not making progress at all.
Okay. Let me come to Bishop Shanks. It looks like we have some feedback which is a little bit disheartening, to say the least. I mean, it's just a year old, but we feel that from Minister Mahara and Beulah, the feeling is this government is not making headway. Bishop Shanks.
Yeah, I would like to agree with my friends. They're exactly right. There is absolutely no progress. And that's not even an understatement. That's exactly what it is. Instead of progressing, we are regressing, even at a faster rate. The things that we said are not good for the country in the last regime are the very same things that are happening, even at a higher rate in this present one. Now, looking at it, you can't call that progress. That's just having the same, game being played, just different players, but the strategy and everything else is the same. So yeah, to answer that question in simplest terms, we are absolutely not progressing.
But then, okay, so my question, in the reason I asked you guys to do it, to give me a short analysis, I'll still come back to you, Minister Mahara. Are we not quick to judge that these guys are not making headway? Seeing that it's just 1 year, would you not be patient enough to give them at least 2.5 years and then judge them and say, we're not going anywhere?
We are judging these things on a realistic timeline. We are not expecting government to fulfill everything that they promised. But when we are talking about these things, first, we trying to ask, where are the roadmaps? Show us the roadmaps. If you say you're going to come in on a promise that you're going to create jobs, show us the investments that are in your budget. So when you look at the budget, you see that it is a consumptive budget. It has nothing that government is ready to invest or to create jobs. So we are saying there's nothing realistic. What we are seeing now, you're asking me, we are seeing a dangerous precedence where systems are being weak. All right. And when you look at how government is even trying to tamper with the judiciary, for example, when we see that the whole assemblage of the HRTC is being transferred, sent away, this is the very strong voices that we build our democracy on. If you see the media personnel, those who had the loudest voices, holding the government accountable, they are being, given chibanzi, and you cannot tell me that it's too early to judge. It's corruption, and it's going even in a deeper way than the DPP. See, we used to look at DPP. That's why we were saying in the first place that DPP shouldn't even be a yardstick, because that was complete mediocrity. But one thing about DPP, they never messed up with our systems. They never touched our judiciary. They never touched the media. They never touched the CSOs. We had Timothy Ntambo mobilizing the whole nation because the systems were working. We had Brian Banda and George Gasakula ranting each and every weekend because the systems were allowing them to do. We had an independent judiciary. Now we're hearing about term limits on the judges. We're hearing about having backlogs on our cases. And yet we are seeing the very same government that is saying we are failing to prosecute some of these cases because we have a backlog, appointing sitting judges and sending them into becoming envoys that are going to be, that every time you are sent as an envoy of government, you are already compromised. You're going to be talking about for the government. So you are smeared already. So you can't convince me that this is early to judge them. We are saying if it quacks like a duck, it is a duck. You can't change certain things. We are able to see these things. I don't want to wake up in 2025 with another story of Mombera just being a foundation stone, because we stopped to stop it when it was happening right now. Not this generation, not our people. This time around, we are vigilant.
I think Minister Mahara seems to have frozen, but I think he has a point in what he's saying. Beulah, do you want to come in? Do you want to jump in into what he just touched on? Do you agree to the sentiments brought in by Minister Mahara? Minister Mahara, we seem to have lost you at some point, but I think you're back on now. Right, but let me go to Beulah. Whatever Minister Mahara said there, talking about, it looks like, so in Minister Mahara's, analysis, there's a bit of praise to DPP.
Are you still able to hear me?
No, we can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you guys able to hear Minister Mahara, right?
No, we can.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear him now.
Now we can hear you now. But I think you're still your network is very laggy. But yeah, but let me come to you, Beulah. So do you agree? Okay, Mr. Mahala, you will need probably to come out and come back in. Beulah, let me come to you.
Right.
Do you agree to this as he puts it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we go back and look at the legacy of MCP as a party back in the days of Ngwazi or Kamuzu Banda, right? They sort of had a hegemony over everything that was in that party, right? There was no distinction between party machinery and the state. There was no such thing as that. So with what Minister Mahara is saying, with them touching the judiciary and all that, that is how hegemony creeps in. You know, if since the topic of this today's program, I know we're gonna delve deeper into it. If you're seeing what's happening at the moment within a short period of time with what they're doing, we may see them as, oh, we're being too judgmental. No, but the things that they're actually doing are dangerous at this rate because it's only been a year. Promises, every government or every regime that has come in the country, there's been promises and they were never fulfilled, right? And I think that we had a different perspective and expectations with this government. And the reason why the public are disappointed, I think, is just at the rate is going, you know, and also the public, the way the public are unsatisfied, is causing more of a wider wedge. And I don't know how 2025 is going to look. We are more like diverging. And come 2025, think about voter apathy. What is it going to look like? So I just think that things are happening too quickly.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the danger. The danger of this whole thing. Things are happening too quickly. Before you know it, we're going to go back to how MCP used to be. And us coming here, also, this is what I wanted to say, us coming here to talk about these things, it's not because we actually hate or the current government or no, but we actually wish them the best. We actually wanted the best from them. And I think the way they're moving, they fought for, they came on the scene and say, hey, we're going to be transparent, accountable. We are not seeing that. We are not seeing that at all. So many things are done behind the scenes. We're not seeing accountability, or if it's said, it is only to cover face. It's just a facade, really. But I absolutely agree with what Minister Mahara said. I think that we're moving into a dangerous territory here, which DPP never did. Do you know what I mean? So us comparing to DPP, and like I keep saying, us to even have to come to a place of comparing to DPP that we all prayed out for as Christians, right? And now we are making these comparisons and seeing that the current government is actually found wanting. What does that say? Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you, but to some extent, if I may quote a little bit of the words of Dr. Laz, I think he says, I want to do things differently. Don't we see that he's doing something differently and probably we're just too quick to judge? Beulah?
There are some things we have appreciated him in coming to the public, I guess, to address certain issues that were raised from the public, and he listened. It appeared that he had listened to public uproar, right? But listening and addressing is one thing. Implementation of such public uproar is one thing, right?
Okay.
I think that to gain public confidence is not so much about addressing with the beautiful,
so you're saying
speeches.
So you're saying we applaud him for listening, but we question him for not applying to what we are saying. That's where the problem is.
See that is why you see most people, since we use social media to address these issues, that's why people are quick to say, we have had enough of the beautiful speeches. We want to see what have you implemented. They are taking accountable to those people that were, for example, when it was mentioned that such money is missing, who has been held accountable out of the many. If you want to address the public and for public confidence, they want to see you have actually done what you said you've done, right? So Yeah, I would say that we applaud him, and we do go on social media and say he's done well on this, he's done well on that, but then implementation is lacking.
Is lacking a little bit. Let me come to Bishop Shanks. Here is Biola and Mahara saying there's a little bit we are lagging when it comes to implementing what he promised to do. You said something that I actually rebuked you for it. You said that this president, if he's not careful, he will go down in history as one of the worst. Can you really correct or say that again in the hearing of the nation? What did you mean? What did you mean?
That's very good that you've given me an opportunity to explain what I meant when I say what I said. In the first place, I did put the word if from the beginning of the statement. That word if, it's a conditional word.
Okay.
It is a statement that simply says, if he keeps on moving on this path, this is what will happen.
Right.
But if he changes and begin to do things differently, then he's not going to go the path that I'm saying he will go if he goes on doing what he's doing right now. And that's exactly what Sister Beulah is saying. Our president, he's a very good speaker, and he can convince, remember, he's a preacher, and preachers know how to talk. And he can convince anybody. I mean, his speeches are powerful. They are out of this world. Everywhere he has gone and made a speech, I mean, people have talked about it recently in Zambia. And then, the funeral of, who was that now? Our friend in Tanzania. When it comes to speeches, he's very good. But I think we have passed that as a nation. It's not enough just for somebody to say, I'm going to do this. We want to see what you are saying. Walk the talk. Don't just say it. And that's the problem with our current president. He speaks big, but there is no implementation of what he speaks. For example, where people started, having issues with him is the cabinet. He came to the public and told the public that in 6 months, I'm going to reshuffle the cabinet. And if any cabinet member who is part of my government is not functioning and doing what they're supposed to do, I will fire them. And when he speaks to the public, you can actually say that, oh man, we've got a leader here. He says, I'm going to fire them. But look at it now. Until today, we don't know what's happening with the cabinet.
Okay.
The second point is about, he said even before he came into power, it was in parliament, and the people recorded this, and it was running on Facebook, where he said the last regime or President Peter Mutharika was hiring people from his own family. And he said Malawi is not a family farm or a family state where you can just hire your people or your close allies and all that. But if you look at the people who are working in the state house currently, it's either from his family or from the church, which is Assemblies of God.
Okay.
There are other people from other places, but most of the people that are hired there are close allies. The very same thing he preached against is the very same thing that he is doing. Now, the last one, another example is the public, the reforms that he allowed the vice president to do a reform on, the civil service reform. He said he was going to come to the public and tell us what these reforms are. Until today, we don't know nothing. And when he was asked that question, he said, or when Brian was asked that question, I mean, he's actually the president. I feel sorry for Brian. I mean, the guy is going to end up dying young, because he's the one who is now getting bombarded with questions, but he doesn't have answers, and he has to defend the president over and over again. The things that he said he would do, he is not doing. That's where the problem is.
Right.
Pastor Laz, I was saying Pastor Laz, President Laz if he is to be successful, he has to be a man of his word.
Okay.
We don't just want him to speak, we want him to do what he said he will do. And if he cannot do it, he should be able to come to the public and say, okay, I made this promise and I'm working on it and I'm looking at this timeline. If it doesn't happen, I'll come back to you and let you know.
Right. That's one thing. In fact, that's my point. Probably I wanted to say, don't you think that probably in the reforms, cabinet reshuffles, the reason it's taking time is that he has looked at it and he needs a little bit more time. So probably, is it wrong to say, let's give him a little bit more time? Minister Mahala, Bishop Shanks.
I understand your sympathy.
Okay.
To the president.
So this is okay. Go ahead.
Of the ruling elites, but
right.
But I'm saying I love these guys. You know, to be honest, what we are saying, we want our president to succeed. We know he's a noble man. He's a character that is very unique. All right, and that is why we were all excited. The election and the euphoria that followed everything when he jumped in, and it was because we know him. We have seen this guy, and we believe he can do things. But what we are highlighting is the fact that they have reduced every promise into just mere semantics. They have been just promising us things that have not, lived up to that bill. It's 12 months. Some of the promises that they gave us actually came on a timeline. I would understand on certain things, but they told us that they were creating jobs within 12 months. They're going to create a threshold of certain jobs. All right. Now, I'm not going to be foolish. When the youth, the consortium of young people made President Chakwera and Vice President to sign the youth manifesto, they were not even asking for 500,000 jobs. They were asking for 250,000 jobs within a year. And these guys overdid themselves by over-promising. Now, like you have heard me, I say this is it's a borrowed tactic from organized religion. So we know that if you have read the 48 laws of power, law number 27 states the very same thing. You create an illusion. Over-promising is what, most of these prophets are also using. So we are saying enough is enough. If you cannot do it, be man enough. Face the people. Tell the people, listen, maybe we had these constraints. We had some of these limiting things. We had COVID maybe. But you see, the issue of COVID can't even get in there for the very fact that, COVID started before they jumped into government, and they knew what they were up against. And yet they were in the forefront to say that COVID is not even a reality. So we are saying this government has to stop promising. We are just looking forward to them fulfilling their promises. Whatever they say they're going to do, show us the roadmaps. Like I was telling you, they promised the young people of Malawi. When the young people asked them for 250,000 jobs, they said, we're going to do 1,000,000 jobs.
Right.
Show us the roadmaps. And now, if you're saying this is my flagship campaign promise, why are you not able to show us how you're going to create that? Because this is what they say they're going to set themselves to be different from the old regime. They were going to put and place citizens at the center of every engine so that we are able to monitor and hold them accountable. But what we are seeing, even in the moment where they've liberalized the, the access to information,
frozen.
These are the same things that we are asking. One day you're telling me that I have the right to question you, I have the right to probe, and then on the other time, you ask your own vice president, you sanction him to do some reforms and reports, and he comes and presents the report before your desk. You're saying, I don't want to share this with the public. See, this is something that we are now beginning to question, that do they really take us for granted, or so we are growing in this frustration, to be honest.
The frustration, of course, is probably in everybody. And we do sympathize. You guys have have hinted it a little bit to say maybe we don't expect them to do everything right at once. But surely, I mean, we all agree that this government has brought in something very fresh. Let's not deny about this. They brought in something fresh that I think to say are we not overloading them?
No, Pastor Chance, that's what I say. The danger with this government is bringing something fresh that is more dangerous than the DPP government.
Right.
Yes. And what would you?
These guys are intentionally weakening the system.
Yes. And what would you call fresh, Pastor Chance? What would you call fresh?
Listening to you. Yeah. No. Listening to you. That's fresh.
There's a difference.
Did you ever have this in the old regime?
No, I had my shows in the DPP.
Yeah, that's exactly
shows that I did on Great Conversation were close to the elections. When I had Monday, I had Bright Tail, I had Tandiwe Hara. We were here before the election. So DPP never messed up with our systems per se. The only thing that they did was to go heavy on corruption, and they could do the plunder. Exactly. But the problem with this government is totally consolidating everything, using for political expediency. They will change the laws using their numbers in parliament right now. So that things, but imagine if DPP, who were in majority at that time, could have been moving the way these guys, even in the House of Congress, the way they're doing right now. Where could we have been right now?
Right.
If CSOs were not given the power to mobilize, like what we just saw the other day, these guys went to meet the president, complain about the problems in the country. The next time we're waking up in the morning, they all have been, dispersed all over the world. And how do you justify?
And besides that, Minister Mahara, besides that, the DPP government was not listening, and they were just resources without even thinking about us.
Yes.
This government is listening, but still more plundering our resources. And they are changing names. Nepotism name is being changed with something else and all that. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Thank you.
There's nothing different.
How many cabinet ministers come from Little?
Yes,
that's
exactly.
Reason for you.
What's the use of saying we are listening to you, and then at the end of the day you don't do what you're listening to? It's just as good as not listening. Look at the picture of the people that are going to the embassy. How many women are there? And if we are to scrutinize the number of people who are there, we will discover that maybe most of them are coming from the center.
Okay, on that note, what's wrong with picking able men from the south or able women from the center? What's wrong with that?
They are able men across the country. You cannot say they are only able men in the south, able men in the center. They are able men all over Malawi.
So you're calling for him to be intentional in picking from everywhere. That's what you're saying?
That's what he said. That's what he promised.
And that's how it should be.
And that's how it should be.
Minister Mahara, did he promise that he's going to pick up?
Is what I'm saying. What is wrong is exactly what was wrong with DPP. What these guys have done, they've just switched Cholo and Mulanje with the Little. It is wrong.
Redefining nepotism. That's what they're doing.
What is wrong is to come before us and to tell us that we're going to be doing things in a different way. And then when you come, when they say, if you want to know a man's character, give them power, then you see what they are all about. So we have given them the power and we have seen the character that is in their fabric. All right. So that is wrong. If you don't see that this is wrong, then we are in trouble.
Exactly.
No. Listen, the highlighted stuff that we highlight, I mean, would I say it's not wrong? But what I'm just wanting us to really come to the fore with the understanding is, and I want to think that this forum right here is helping them who are listening to grasp that this is, in fact, this is from the majority. Look at this. If we were put it as it stands now, it's 1 against 3, in the sense that probably I am standing in as the government, but the people are disgruntled. Yeah, that's how it is. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, let me bring back to this. So let's get to the thing that is actually hitting most. You've actually just started about nepotism and being a little bit troublistic. Can we justify? Can we say that this government is being what is the word? Nepotistic or is nepotism being practiced in
Big
this
time.
Tonse government?
Big
Straight,
time.
yes.
Let me start
Chance,
with you. Yes,
mentioned-
let me start with you. Go ahead.
Pastor Chance, your post the other day,
Yes,
say in a way you tried to say that, oh, what's wrong with that particular? Was it to do with the
What's wrong
child.
with people? Yeah.
No, for choosing the president's
Daughter.
Child.
daughter,
Yeah, daughter.
right?
That's
Yeah.
one daughter.
Daughter, right? You didn't see anything in a way. Correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't really see anything wrong with that, right?
In fact, to be honest, Biola, let me correct in a little bit. I wanted a discussion and I got it. So go ahead.
Now,
He's practicing
that's
Trumpism.
why I responded to you and said every small problem arises to a bigger issue. So you
Right.
may seem that is a small issue, but and also let's not just think that this is the only thing that's happening with MCP as a government. It happened previously, right? But what's wrong with this is Dr. Chakwera, when he came on the scene, he had issues with the previous governments
Yes.
doing the very same practices. Now,
Putting
corruption,
relatives into different positions and
That's
being
right.
tribalistic. Right.
That's right. The problem with this is nepotism and corruption are twins, right? They work hand in
Okay.
hand. If you talk about, sorry, I took notes, so I'm going to read on my notes.
Yeah, go ahead.
If we look
Go
about,
ahead.
since you just called me, so I had to, anyway.
Go
I had
ahead.
to prepare
It's
myself,
all yours.
right?
It's all yours.
Yeah. If we talk about him coming in and say the same way all other presidents have come in and say, Bingu came and said, I will not relent until we confront this issue of corruption. Dr. Chakwera came on the scene and said the same thing. Obviously, corruption in Malawi is more systematic, right? And it affects the whole bureaucracy and regarded as, in our case, it's now normalized. Okay. So in these circumstances, corrupt behavior has become in our country institutionalized. We're talking about nepotism. That's a part of it. That's a branch out of that. Extortion. The things I'm going to mention are things that have happened in the Tonse government. Transferring of public funds, that hasn't happening as into foreign countries. I'm just saying that's a part of, okay? But if you look at
we don't know.
We don't know exactly.
We don't know
exactly. If we talk about patronage, politics of patronage, we already know that's happening. Payments to, I don't know, ghost projects or that sort of thing. We don't know whether that's happened or not. Duty evasion, embezzlement, illegal diversion of relief and aid items, e.g. COVID funds, over invoicing and under invoicing. These are just part of corruption as a whole. But what nepotism does to me is almost like a blatant bias, in a sense of there's other able people that could have done that job. Do you know what I mean? If you say you're going to fight corruption, you're going to bring in nepotism, that's a blatant bias to those who are able to do the same job. And also it sort of, it reduces the quality of democracy. Were we not praised for our democratic processes? The whole entire international community looked at Malawi and said, wow, look at how we have processed our whole election process, very democratic. But things like this, why I was saying that they start as a small seed and grow into something bigger, is because they reduce the quality of our democracy, and it's also unfair and misuse of authority. So for him, are we saying that some people said, oh, but Donald Trump, his daughter, was his special advisor and stuff like that. It doesn't mean we have to do the same. It doesn't mean because he did that in America, then Malawi, we have to do it when our president said we are not going to be doing the very thing. But he is just doing it. A friend we all know, a colleague of ours, Wilson Campbell, said this is just another way of defining nepotism. We can paint it as many brushes as we want. It is the very same thing. But what it does is just corruption. So it's an abuse of office and authority. So I feel that Dr. Chakwera doing that is an abuse of authority, or anyone senior in his government doing the very thing. Because people said, oh, but the vice president did the same.
Is doing the same.
It's the same thing.
My question still, if I was to come to you two gentlemen, in echoing what, or in trying to counter what Beulah has said, I want to pose to you this. What is wrong with me appointing my daughter in a certain office that she's qualified for? What's wrong with that?
All right. Can I try to...
go ahead.
I think I've always said this. The appointment, I don't fault the appointment at all. Okay.
Right.
But what we fought is the word that you gave us. See, you promised that I'm not going to do this very same thing. And then you step in and do it. Then you use your own word to be a yardstick. You're using your word. We are using their own words to point at the ills. But like what Dura was saying, you see, the problem with some of these things that we are seeing right now is, like in a human body, fever is not a sickness on its own. Okay.
Right.
But it's a symptom of what could be going on in that body. So when we see substandard decorations on the roundabouts, and we see this kind of nepotistic tendencies, we know that's how oligarchies are born. Leads to a bigger thing. If you don't stop that symptom, it might be just like a small rag catching fire. But if you don't let it, if you don't stop that fire, it might bring the whole house down. So what we are saying is we are noticing that there are so many symptoms of a nation that is actually sick. Now, we cannot prescribe Panadol or aspirin for an acute illness, or we cannot just wrap a deep wound with just Band-Aid. We need to find the root of what is wrong. If this government will not help, who else is going to change? If Dr. Chilima and Dr. Chakwera will not be the ones, then who are the ones to change?
Right. And this is where the cry comes in. And listen, let me be honest with you again. I echo the sentiments of saying that we do not want the Tonse government to fail, and that's why we're bringing up such kind of stuff. Right. Yeah. Let me, for a minute, whilst you guys collect yourselves, let me remind the people we're here, and I'm your host, Chance, on this special edition. We're talking about the Tonse government. Is it making headway? Are we progressing, or is there something wrong that we need to correct? I think leaving it too late, we might find ourselves in the dire, mud where we are failing to come out again. We're dealing with nepotism, corruption, stuff that probably we should say that Tonse government found it, but we have employed them to dig it out. Somehow things are not going according to the majority's wish and desire. Listen, why don't you share? Tell somebody else we're here and we're talking this. This is important. Comment. I need your comments. We are on. We're broadcasting via Media East, but it's on my page. If it's not very clear on Facebook, you can also join us via YouTube, where you just type in "This is PC." Find us there. We are live talking and discussing Mother Malawi. We love Malawi and we want the best of a nation. The issue here is simple. Tonse government promised that we're going to root out nepotism. We're going to root out corruption. We want to kill this. We want to bring in a just government that does the will, not the will of them people, but the will of the voiceless Malawians who actually demonstrated to kick out a regime that was corrupt, we said. Now, is this regime good enough? Anyhow, let's get back to my people. Right. Guys, if I was to come to Bishop Shanks, you've been too quiet. My question still is this. You say, Mahara, you've answered me. I still feel I need somebody to convince me. Here is one thing that we've said when it comes to a commander, somebody who is in charge of a destiny. Okay. We have said that it is important to surround yourself with the right people, with close people that understand your value and who may not sabotage your destiny. Now, why is it wrong to surround yourself with your daughter who understands, in fact, she has campaigned with you along the lines before you became president? Should I not give her a platform in a certain office which she qualifies with her certificate just because we're kicking out nepotism? Now, like I said, nepotism, if we just put it to just the one person in charge, I think that would be wrong. I think I would say that probably if we look at nepotism, it's wider than just your siblings or your seed. Let's be honest. So the question still stands. Is it wrong to give my daughter, who is so very qualified in that office? Bishop Shanks.
Okay. I think Minister Mahara yankhula bwino kwambiri.
Imagine I have an audience that is English.
Oh, so there are those people who don't understand our language, isn't it?
There might be. I've got friends that don't understand.
What I want to say is simply this. Melanenela Minister Mahara Mujahid is very, very clear.
Okay.
One thing you should never underestimate, and one thing that you should never think, people have become savvy right now.
Very true.
And people follow each and every single thing that is happening. The problem with our president is there are things he rightfully said no to nepotism. And he specifically mentioned things like Kulemba Nchito and Hakubanjala Kwanu. Now, Minister Mahara said, we are not questioning the appointment. We are questioning the word that he said, I will not do this. And that's exactly what he is doing. Now, people remember everything. Coming back to your statement where you are saying, as a leader, you need to surround yourself with people that can share your vision, people that will not sabotage you, people that really love you and they will promote and enhance your vision. Here's what you need to remember, Pastor Chance. This is not a church organization.
That's true. I agree.
This is government. And the position which our president holds, it is the people that vote him into that position.
Yeah.
And the people that vote him into that position are not the few people that he surrounds himself with.
Okay.
That's right.
It is the whole nation. Now, you can bring alongside yourself people that you think will help me to get there, yet they could be the very same people that will sabotage your business.
Right.
It is very important to know that whoever it is that you bring along and stand with you, they should also be able to speak to you truthfully and say, Mr. President, this is a wrong decision.
Right.
You shouldn't just be making any decision and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and everybody else will follow. Now, here is the problem. Dictatorship become a choncho. When you surround yourself in the anthamenali, ogudi sanga kupange question. And what was sagumpawi, and what within mabanja sanga kupange question. They will not question the decisions you make because you have helped them to be where they are. So they look at you as the source of everything in their lives. So they will not question you. But at this point in time, all we are saying is simply this. You can hire your daughter, whosoever it is that you want to hire for, as long as they are qualified.
Right.
But create an opportunity for the masses to enjoy and prosper together, just like you always preach. I will tell you this chance. Mwina mankulanda ntu IMCP okawoka podi nina IMCP.
Let's be okay. I'm talking to you. But I'm talking to you, I'm talking to Beulah, right. I'm talking to Mahala.
The point that I'm trying to make is
go ahead.
If you talk to the people on the ground, I'm not just talking about people, owning a woody basangu yankhula zokumva on Facebook. But I'm talking about people on the ground and people who really know exactly what is going on within this system. I can truthfully tell you today that people are still being hired. Munjira yomwe imene DPP nkamangira. The fact that they have advertised pa news okuli vacancy pocket. Akumakhala kuti munthu yamutenga kale.
But then, okay, so Bishop Shanks, is it not right to say then that there's these guys walked into a system that is still failing them? Rather than saying to you guys that, what I'm trying to say is that it's not the president's mistake, because maybe we should put it, but has he not walked into a system that's not been pushed out?
Why are you taking him out of the picture? He is right there.
Not only that, why should he, if you said that he's already found himself in this failed system, why is he walking by the dictates of that same failed system?
Yeah.
Why
is he
not
allowing the same?
Exactly.
Same
Doesn't he have the power? And I'm sorry to say this. The question he asked, or the question that he said we should pose to the guys who did the decorations, or to the ministers who do right things on Facebook, that are you doing this to help? We want to ask him the same question. Is he helping?
In fact, Bishop, I should agree with you on that one. Because I feel that statement, him making on that platform to say
that was wrong.
Because you are in charge.
The minister responsible for that, who is Richard Chimwendo. He was the one responsible for the celebrations. Up until today, he said the budget was cut to 50 million. Can he give us a breakdown of what the 50 million did?
Yeah.
Until today, nobody knows.
Yeah. No, I tell you what.
That decoration, do you want to tell me that decoration?
No. I did a write-up in Nyasa Times on that decoration alone.
Imagine. So here's where I have a problem, Pastor Chance.
I know, right? You did a write-up on that one, just on the decoration. The way it was making sense. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
He is the appointing authority.
Yeah.
He has the power to fire and to hire.
And the hire, yes. I agree.
He shouldn't put that responsibility on the citizens. He's educated, well-schooled, well-versed in leadership. He knows exactly what to do to make it right.
Yeah.
The problem with our president, he has surrounded himself with people that helped him to get there, and he doesn't have power over them.
Okay.
They are the ones who tell him what to do. He doesn't tell them what to do. Or even if when he says to them what to do, I don't think they do listen. That's the problem. So there are people within the system that he just needs to cut them out with no mercy.
Yeah.
Because some of these ministers, in closing, these ministers, they quickly come to the public, put up a face to the public as if they are not part of the road, yet they're the ones who are in the forefront, loading out and doing all this nonsense. So at the end of the day, they should understand and know that we are not stupid. The fact that we speak in tongues does not mean that we are not seeing what is happening on the ground.
Right,
we know exactly what is happening on the ground. And we will not remain silent.
Very true. Before you can go ahead, guys, let me go to Facebook because I'm having my people talking to us back. Let me tell you the feedback a little bit here. Thank you very much once again, people, for being interactive with me, with us, I should say. Chrissy Nakamba, that's my sister Kanga from the USA. Tikala Walinasi Chunda. Let me just read a few comments. And let me say also thank you to Tikala. She actually tried to break down what nepotism was. So I read that one. I understand exactly what you mean. Right, let's go to this. Nakamba Kanga says, time out for president passing the buck. Chrissy says, only the family will benefit from the government. But as for the teams and jacks from Mzirawa Yingwe, Chimbongondo, forget about it. God help us all. Nakamba goes ahead and says, the president is the leader, the head honcho, the top dog. The buck stops with him. He sets the tone. Government is reflection of his leadership style, similar as in any other organization. To change an organization, change the leader's basic principles. Okay, so that is Kanga to the president. Let's go ahead a bit more. All right, a bit more. Please allow me just to, there was another comment that I really wanted to bring out. So guys, allow me, it's going to make a little bit noise, but allow me to go this because I just want to, draw out the comments from this. The comments from, where's that gone again? Sorry, apologies once again, I'll be back. Gilbert Gambo, I told you, Bishop Shanks, that I've got people that are listening that are not Chewa. So Gilbert Gambo is one of my good friends, pastor in Northampton. He pastors in Aldershot, New Christian Anointing. Yeah, you know him.
Yeah.
There you go. He says he is rewarding people for loyalty, not competence. So there, he understands our politics.
Amen, Pastor Gambo. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Okay, so I just wanted a few more. Anyway, let me come back to Minister Mahara. Okay, the book stops with the president.
With the president, but I've always said, like you rightly put it, you see, throughout history, in the Bible, you will see that the great kingdoms and the kings that prevailed mainly function from three sides. Counsel is number one. You have to surround yourself with the right people. Without good counsel, a city will come down. A nation will not prosper. Second is vision. Everything, including resources and other things, they are only attributed to a good vision. You have to demonstrate that you have something for the people, people. And then the other thing that I wanted to tell people, have to have the trust in you. You have to build the trust with the people. As a leader, one of the things that you really always have to work on is people have to be able to believe you. They have to be able to trust you. But whenever you open your mouth, you're speaking, whether it's a directive, people will take it serious. But right now, when our leaders speak, we are not so sure whether we should follow or we should not follow. See, that's the danger that has happened right now with the
that's so dangerous, that is.
Yeah, it is very dangerous because right now we had this euphoria, every time we had this excitement and we were like, yeah, we got it. This is our time. We were earmarked as a model of democracy within the region. All right. And I strongly believe if the president was not so much obsessed with the bravado or trying just to do things like, we can do things by ourselves, the president could have even been earmarked for a Nobel Prize. Exactly. I believe so. And we have lost, as a nation, just within a year, we've lost so much opportunities that could have even changed the face of Malawi because we were in the right path. And then because of our own ego sometimes, because we don't want to listen to the right people. But like what Pastor Chang say, and like what Sister Biola say, what you say, our president need to reconstitute. Okay. And one good thing that allow me to say this, one good thing that has come from him not appointing the cabinet ministers is now we know that Malawi doesn't need those deputy ministers because those deputy ministers have managed the portfolios to the point that the president doesn't want to appoint other ministers. So we know that all these kind of blood bureaucracy is there to hide the corruption. So the president has to cut down the cabinet, get the right people, the right pieces in place, get the right counsel. And I also want to ask our president, I love my president. I want to ask him that he shouldn't be always looking to hear the things that his ears are aching to hear. They say most successful corporations that prevailed when they bring rivalries to govern with them. So every time you always have to have the dissenting views or alternative views, bring them to redirect you. But if you just put around the yes buanas, these are the people that are killing the whole thing. He has to be careful with whom he's surrounding himself with. And the other things, get the right people with the right metacognition, get the right people with the right experiences in place. There are so many portfolios that were filled with rookies in this government. And it's now proving to be dangerous. We have done so many things on the foreign affairs front that are dangerous to the nation, simply just because we are not putting people that are very experienced in those lanes.
Let's hope, like I said, that this message is actually getting out to our president and the people concerned. And the message is loud and clear. We don't want mediocrity. This is not what we signed up for. Viola, I want to come to you. The instruction then, because we have pointed out what we think these guys are doing. What is the instruction for these guys to do? Like Minister Mahara has just stepped in to say. I like what you said, Minister Mahara, to say every organization has to have a vision council and what other stuff that you say. Surely there's counsel in this. We have not just come together to criticize, but we've come to give, and we've come to be that, to be the counsel. Maybe it may not be used, but we know there is something good out of this, surely. Viola.
Listen, for us to come here and have this kind of dialogue is because we do love our president, and we want to see him do the best, and we wish him all the best. But like what Minister Mahara said, there is some people he surrounded himself with, and those also maybe to something to resonate with Bishop Shanks, what he said, these are people that could cause them to fall, right? The back at the end of the day stops with the president. And also, I know, Pastor Chance, you're concerned with.
No, we lost her.
Did we lose? Have we lost Viola? Oh, sorry. Right. Can I?
I think she's getting back.
Is she getting? Yeah, she's getting back.
Before they won the election, they had more time to plan ahead, right? Before the election,
Oh, our streams. I think there's a problem with our stream. Viola, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead.
Right. I'll just start off from what I said. Pastor Chance, I know that you were concerned about that. Maybe we're too judgmental or too quick to judge. It's only been a year. But this government is not like something has just happened overnight. It's not like they never had plans. What is the Tonse philosophy? What does it cover? What is the vision of the Tonse philosophy? Stuff like that. And I just think that we shouldn't be allowing, yes, we should check our own expectations, but at the same time, like we've all agreed that there are some things that they're doing that we feel they're out of bounds. Do you know what I mean? If we're gonna talk about economic transformation and to consolidate good governance as what he believes in, these things that we are talking about, they need to be done away with. Do you know what I mean? They need to be done away with. I know even if we go to the nitty-gritty of, I think, was it Pastor Gambo who commented in the comment section about that it's all about, when we talk about nepotism and all that we were talking about, at the end of the day, what merit did they use in the appointment of the daughter? Are we not talking about merit, competency? We can go as far as the nitty-gritty of her qualifications. She worked for the Kenyan Airways, didn't she? So for this, I mean, and then for this role, let's look at it. Do you know what I mean? So if we say, oh, she's qualified, someone said, oh, at least Ivanka Trump did, I don't know, business and politics, whatever. So someone could think, okay, at least she's in politics. But this is someone from coming from a background of airlines, and then for that appointment, what's the merit in that?
Marketing is what she did. What is
marketing, and how does that? How is that going to reflect in the current role? Is it good for the people? That's the bigger question. Is it good for the majority of the people?
Exactly. So my question would be probably: have we read her duties of her office, so that we find her disqualified? Because in my view, if she's employed by the embassy to be running, when it comes to be dealing with the ins and out or transportation or whatever marketing that needs to be done in the embassy, surely she's qualified, isn't it?
Surely, but you and me know that she wasn't chosen for that purpose. We know that.
Praise the Lord.
Because she's not the only family member. Because she's not the only family member that has been appointed so far from his family. We have
Right.
his son-in-law. Should we go
Right.
further?
No,
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, no, I'm just saying that she's not the only one. There's a couple. I mean, I can go as far as looking what some people have said. For example, the Kandodo family, who have always been linked to the Kamuzu Banda family and being in MCP, and so they're trying to still maintain the legacy of that lineage in MCP. But I don't want to go into that because this is not part of our. But I'm just saying that we can say yeah, she did marketing, so she could she knows what she's gonna do. Qualified,
and the question is, were there not other people more qualified
who are marketers? We
marketers
don't have
that
marketers.
can
They
hold
are
that
marketers.
portfolio on that diplomatic level?
I think it's fair to say.
And the second question is, if she was to be interviewed by a different panel, she's not even related to the president for that particular position. Could she be chosen for that role?
But that we cannot answer here. You guys, we are raising questions which, because we're all in limbo into how they came about with the system and choosing her, we would surely not know whether she would have passed and should have been the best qualified of the people that were amongst the interviewees.
So that's why I said from the beginning.
Be unfair to the president.
Right.
We want to balance the equation. We raised the same concern when we heard that the vice president's mother-in-law was also sent to embassy. So we are trying to balance all these things, that this government should not be smeared with nepotism. If maybe it was an oversight, we are trying to raise them right now, that if it's an oversight, let's avoid to go through that path.
Yeah, but again, Minister Mahara, just to put that also into perspective, if the president's daughter is qualified for the job and the right processes for her appointment were followed and made public, there is no problem with that.
Right.
Same thing with the vice president's mother-in-law. We all know that she's been in the embassy before. That's not a problem. That where the process was there a procedure in terms of how the appointments came to be? Because that's where the problem is. And that's why I told you that I have it even in good authority. That the way people are being hired, even though there is an announcement or an advertisement out there for that for this particular position, but they already have somebody in place. So that's just for public, for PR purposes.
Hence I said at the beginning, I come from a human resource background, right?
Yes.
There has to be procedures and processes when it comes to recruitment. We have a minister who probably deals with recruitment and for government on all that, right? Do we know if that was followed? That's why I say that. That's why I say that when it comes to this kind of appointments by, you're related to this one, what it does is it's just a blatant bias to the candidate pool. They're marketers in Malawi, registered marketers that could have probably applied if they were given that opportunity. We're looking at wanting to reduce the lack of employment, aren't we? So I mean, it is what it is. That's why I think they're losing public confidence, because like Pastor Shank said, they'll probably put it out there that such and such position is out there, but they've already earmarked, they've already put somebody, so we don't know.
That is why we even having problems to have the young people being given a chance. No apprenticeship for our young people. There's no incubatory processes for these young people to harness them, even just to put them close to the places where decisions are made. And then we are bringing in retirees into the system just to cement what Bishop Shanks and Sister Beulah say. It's all nepotism.
It's all nepotism. And besides that,
it's called cronyism. You're bringing people that are your friends, they're in your loop, in your circle. You want them to benefit from the way you have leveraged power.
And that's how corruption is also promoted, because these people, they are connected to you. They roll with you. Whatever it is that they gain is your gain as well. And so at the end of the day, all I'm saying is We need people to be hired, people who are competent, but also people who are exposed. And that's a very good point. I will give you an example. Minister Mahara has lived in the States for how long? Beulah has lived in the UK for how long? I've lived outside Malawi for over 20 years, including yourself. So we know how the systems work in this part of the world.
And how we want, Bishop Chance, how we want our nation to adopt these systems, because they are good, man.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if you look at the United Nations definition of good governance, one of the things that they talk about is transparency. And And this government lacks that. And another thing is accountability. They also lack that. So these are the things that we as citizens, I mean, I live here. Right now, I'm part of this system.
Yeah.
The system that works. And I know somebody said we shouldn't change the system, but we should change the people. That's exactly what it is, because the people runs the system. The systems are put in place by people. So if the president wants to change the system or make the system work, number one, he has that power. He has that power. So he has to put that power into use. Because mind you, it is his legacy. I don't want to. You remember, Pastor Chance, what I said? I said, Woody, the reason why I'm so afraid for President Chakwera to be president of Malawi, it is because it's not just his name that will be on the line, but God's name too. Because if he doesn't do well, people will also say he's a man of God. And that's what people are saying right now. And they're calling him a false pastor, a false prophet. Why? Because of the tendencies of nepotism and all this. So you can't say hiring one person is not bad. But we know in this present government that people who are connected to our president is not just one.
Right.
Yeah.
Break, commercial break. Let me bring it back. Okay, once again, I want to thank you. We'll be signing out in a minute. But before I ask these guys for the last bits of what they have, I want to thank you once again for taking time and giving us your views. Listen, every view is valuable. And let me just read again, once again, a few comments. You people, I love you. Thank you so much for being interactive. Tikala Chimpambo says, great leaders sacrifice their own comfort for the good of those in their care, and they foster trust and cooperation, as Mahara has alluded to earlier on. Individuals thrive only when they feel safe among a group. As a nation, we can pull together and build. Let's see more. And build a Malawi that we will all be proud in the years to come. Thank you. Joseph Ngura says, if she was a civil servant, talking about probably the president's daughter, please, let me read. If she was a civil servant and then selected for an embassy job, probably that would have made sense. Okay, Bridget Sanjama says, she goes, unless, I think that's, what did you say there, Bridget? She goes, unless what? Okay, Nakamba says, regardless, this is Kangbe, regardless of duties, third secretary has to be able to liaise at that level. Our nation needs to move forward, and it's time to send people who will know how to make the right links and connections for our country. Thank you. That is a really powerful statement. Unbiased procedure, she goes. Bridget then comes in and says, I don't blame the people who are surrounded by him or who are surrounding the president. I blame the procedure in how the staff are being hired, she goes. Chris then says, there is room for change. We believe God did not put him up on the chair to put him to shame. No, our president can do better. Malawi is blessed to have him. If only, I like that. There we go. What is if only? If only there are many things that needs to be changed. Make Malawi what Tonse, not Waoka or Onse in their families. Stop. What did she say again? She says, stop the biasness. Stop nepotism. Loud and clear, sis. Tikala comes again. Sorry, guys, I gotta read this. It would be nice to have internal recruitment of for posts like these within civil service. There are people within the civil service who I believe have worked in the civil service, and this would have been opportunities for them to scale up in their career. And then she goes, we need an internal civil service recruitment for diplomatic posts as well. And these should be transparent and open to all eligible people, I think. So hey, there we go. A few comments that agrees with you guys. But once again, I want to say a big thank you to the people that are watching for your participation. I may not read everything that you guys have read, have written down, but trust me, we value every other sentiment or comment that you put across. Lastly, let me come back to my panelists. Okay, I will start with the Chief, Minister Mahara. Your last few words before I kick you guys out of here.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor Chance, for this opportunity that we could have this opportunity. I want to thank even the government, like you rightly put it earlier on, that they are a listening government. I know that one thing for sure, they do listen, and there's been some feedback in some cases. But what we're trying to say right now is time for action. It's no more time for promising. We don't want just to excite ourselves with something that is not. It's time for tangibles, right? And so I want to appeal to the president that this nation is showing some signs of a sickness. We have seen the fever. We have seen some of the symptoms that, are there. Sometimes the danger that we do is we try to cover up sicknesses by just treating the symptoms. I think it's not going to help us. If there's a cancer, we need to dig deep. Nepotism is a cancer. And when there's a cancer, you need to cut it out. Cut it out from that part of the body so that it is not affecting other things. And I know and I believe in you and your vice president that you were chosen and you were readily put on that position to change Malawi. And we're still believing that you have what it takes to change Malawi, but you need to begin to listen to people who can help you
and act
to those who want just to excite you. But we are here. We are praying for you as men of God, as believers, as a body of Christ. We are also standing with you in our prayer that you will succeed. Your success is our success.
Is our success. Perfect. Thank you, Minister Mahara. That is wisdom at the highest order. Bishop Shanks, let me come to you. I'll finish with the lady, but let's come to you again. Your last words.
What I would say is, number one, Mr. President should stop making reactive decisions.
Right.
And I see a lot of that happening. And that's not good for him. He should be able to understand that he's leading a nation. And it's not everything that we say that he has to act on. And it's not everything that we say that he has to disregard as well. He has to look at what he's saying, balance it up, and apply what is good for the nation. That's number one. Number two, I want him not just to be a man of words, but a man of action. And transparency is key. If he cannot do it, he should be able to say, I cannot do it right now. And people will respect him as a leader in that way. He shouldn't behave as a politician, but he should behave as a man of God, because we need that part.
Yeah, a leader.
A leader of integrity. So he has to come to the public and tell the public, I made these promises. I will be able to accomplish 1 or 2 or 3, but as for this one, it will take time.
Right.
Very, very important. And that will make him command a lot of respect. We want him to do what? Even though some people think that I'm a UTM supporter and because Chilima is not up there, but this is what people should understand. The failure of this president is Chilima's failure too. They're into this together. Because right now people are asking questions. Kuda Chilima, zimene akupanga president magistration
Simguzona.
So don't come back 3-4 years later and say no.
Yeah.
So they are all into this together. And we believe, lastly, I do believe with my whole heart that Malawi is blessed to have these two leaders.
Very true. Very
but they
true.
need to start acting. They have time to change the narrative. They have time to turn things around. That's all I can say to them is, please, 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 learn from the mistakes of 1 year. Let the next 3 years that are remaining, make them count. Make them count. That's all I can say.
Beulah, woman coming last, females. It's all up to you now. Come on. Say it all in 5 minutes.
Right. Just to cement what my brothers have said and some of the comments. Yes, we are indeed blessed to have him as a president, as a man of God.
I'm the vice.
Exactly. All of them, we are blessed to have them. And we wish him all the best. And as Christians, we are commanded to pray for our leaders, and we do. But at the same time, because we love them and want them to do the best, this is why we come and have this sort of discourse to say we want to see change. It's not all about talk. They spoke about transformation. Transformation would have to begin within their leadership before it reflects to all of us, right? So that's why, and I like what Minister Mahara said, that cancer has so many forms. If we look at cancer, we'll look at it as corruption, and nepotism being a form of cancer. That's why we are against this, because we can see how this will take us from the top to the bottom. And if the government believes that government is of the people, by the people, for the people, then let's stick to it. Because if we continue on where we are now, then this government will become a government of the people, by the regime, for the regime, or by the party, for the party. And we need to shift from that. We are democratic. We are democratic. We need to shift from that. So all I can say is that we need to really see action, and we need to, do away with old systems that haven't taken us from anywhere in order to transform the country. And, we're taking steps back. So in order to take steps forward, we need to really look into these things. Yes, he listens. I'm glad he does, but let's implement them with action. That's my last bit.
Wonderful, and thank you once again from me, PC. You guys are awesome, and once again, I don't take it lightly, and I hope we've made up now. Minister Mahara, I'm not hypocritical, right?
No, you're not. You're not. I will respect your view. We can't all be on the same stage, but I always say, especially for us as men of God, we have an added responsibility.
I doubt that part of him. I think he is hypocritical.
Listen to this. I just wanted a discussion, and I got you guys talking. So hey, and I hope we're gonna come back again, because this is not over. We will talk about our nation. We'll be the voice. We'll record this. We'll keep it so that tomorrow.
Before you close, Pastor Chance, I would like to agree with Minister Mahara. No, you are not hypocritical, because if you were, you wouldn't have even brought us into this forum. We had an argument on Facebook. I mean, you said what you said. I said what I said. Minister Mahara said what he said. If you were hypocritical, you wouldn't have brought us here. But the reason why you're bringing us here, it is simply because we all want the same thing, and that is to see our country change. And I know you're passionate about it. We are all passionate about it.
More than you two, by the way. Anyway, Bishop. Listen, guys, I salute you. Minister Mahara is doing, for those of you that are still on this line and probably you don't know what this guy does, is blogging on what is that? Nyasa Times, right?
Yes.
You're blogging there. What do you call it? Mahara's Wahala. Make sure you boy, he right. Boy, I know, right? He's in a foreign land. They ain't touching him. But listen to this.
Yeah.
Follow him up there. He writes
I'm not
some.
positioning myself for a place in embassy.
Oh yeah.
You kicked yourself out. Anyhow, but listen, I am so happy to be connected to you guys, and I know my sister Beulah always says I'm praying for you. I hope it's true, right?
Of course, of course, of course.
You're praying for Chance?
Yeah.
He's my friend. He
Yeah.
prays for me
No,
too.
I'm just
hope so.
asking. I'm just asking. Are you praying?
Why are you so nosy?
Anyhow, listen, I gotta let you guys go. Listen to everybody, guys. You've been awesome, fantastic. To the audience, thank you so much once again that you could be with us tonight. It was a prompt and a sudden, but you managed to come around this. We normally come on a Friday, but we might change the times because this is so awesome. Well attended. God bless you once again. If you've been here just to contribute and just to listen and be participative, thank you so much. Love you guys. Have a good night. To my president, if I may say this in conclusion, to my president, the vice president, and the ministers, we are demanding action. We're demanding accountability. We're demanding boldness to do the right things. We prayed for you, and Bridget said something like this, and I'm gonna finish by saying this. Bridget in Sanjama says, guys, we prayed for this government to be empowered. Don't you think we need to pray for them again, seeing that the demon of nepotism has walked in? I mean, that is Bridget in Sanjama. There could be sense there, Beulah, isn't it? But let me send you guys to bed. Thank you so much once again for being here. This is God, Church, and Politics. Love you all. Have a good night. Have a great week. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.